The modern Black Boule, Jay-Z, Barack Obama, Kanye West, Puff Daddy, you name it. We have all their names, but they don't want to go by that title. No, they want to go by the social justice warriors that they are. They want to go by the freedom fighters. So let's talk about some things here today that might open your eyes to what's really going on. Now, what do we mean by they being the Black Boule? Most people misunderstand the Black Boule. They want to think, oh, just the elite rich people and they're working for white people. Actually, they're not. They're working for own self-interest. They're exactly the same people that was back in Africa that sold blacks into slavery. Don't want to believe me? That's on you. The truth of the matter is this. Anybody that made it in a certain location then turns around and tells you you will never make it works no different than who? You figure that one out yourself. The people that don't like you. Here's why I will call them the Black Boule of the modern times. But now, mind you, I understand that the Black Boule originally came out in 1904. We get all that. Thank you, Mr. McKee. However, it goes back way further than that because of a mindset. When you go back to tribal Africa, the tribal leaders, when they didn't like a certain person, sold them off. Sold them to who? Arabs, Europeans, and so forth. Spaniards, Spanish, French, you name it, anyone came by, y'all want this one, take that one. I don't want him here. Now, they will also try and point you to somebody else. It's not me. It's the people that bought them from me. Blame them. This is exactly what they do. Why? Because they're not wanting you to look at what they're doing. You've seen magicians, sleight of hand people. This is over here, and then he does this number here, and all of a sudden it's over here, but he wants you to keep looking at this hand because it's disappeared, but it's over here. That's what they do. Let's break down Jay-Z for a minute, and I'll prove to you that he's part of the Boule. Jay-Z got his start doing what? Selling what? Drugs. Destruction of the same people that he's trying to say he's trying to lift up. His songs, what do? Promote death and destruction to the same people he's trying to do what? Lift up by blaming somebody else. And you won't look at him. You won't even point your finger at him as being the problem. No, he's the one bringing attention to it. No, actually, he's the one that's actually instigating it. That goes for nearly every single one of these elite black people here, at least in America. What about Barack? Barack came to the forefront, and all he could talk about was race relations, this and race, and how we have to make sure that whites pay their fair share. Blacks are not the problem. We have been burdened. Meanwhile, every one of his laws did what to black people? Do you see a pattern emerging? The destruction of the black family and the eradication of most things that help black people. But he was a leader, right? Kanye, what about him? Exact same thing as Jay-Z. You don't find it kind of weird that the same people telling you that they want you to prosper are the same people pushing a message to you that destroys you? Are you not aware that that is exactly what the Boule did? You see, they were elite. And the less people that can be around them, the more power they can have. They want you to have the air of superiority and make you believe that, yes, look at us, we've made it, but they won't tell you how. You know why? They won't tell you how because they don't intend for you to get to where they are. If you got to where they are, they've lost some of their power dynamic. They can't afford that. So now they have to point you to somebody else to blame. Look away from my money. Don't even know. No, don't even know. And this is what they'll push you off. Have you heard this one before? Just because they made it doesn't mean that every black person is going to make it. You've heard that statement before? Who do you think pushes that? Trust me, it's not white people. That's the Boule. Or how about this one? No matter how hard you work, you will never make it more than that person. You know who does that? The Boule, not white people. This is exactly their plan. And they've strategically put a lot, and if you watch it, a lot of rich black people posing as though they were extremely broken, poor, and they are so tormented by another race. Tell me, where was Oprah ever tormented by another race? Prove to me where. You can't. You know why? Because it never happened. They want to say this stuff in order to make you identify with them. But in reality, there is no identification with them because you will never get to where they got to, because if you keep listening to them, you will stay where you are. Meanwhile, when there are people that are actually coming to you and tell you this is how you make it out, you will look them dead in the eye and say, I can't be a one-off, because you bought in to the Boule system. Now, for all intents and purposes, people are going to come and say, white people started, white people. Okay, then you keep believing that. Each of us has the ability to choose. Okay? Just because someone comes and tells me I can't does not make it so. Now, in their minds, they may think I can't, or they don't want me to. But in my mind, if I really want something, I'm going to work for it. How do you think you came up with the term hustling? Why is it that it's always attached to something negative, though? Because it's been pushed that way. Every song that speaks about hustling speaks about doing something illegal. You don't find that kind of odd? And then they'll turn around and tell you that the cops are the problem. That's Boulè behavior.
I've been trying to figure out a way to sum it up so you understand it. When I see a cop car, I don't feel safe as a black man. When I see a cop car, I get scared.
People don't want to hear it, though. And it's okay that you don't want to hear it. The truth is a very bitter pill to swallow, and it's large. It could choke you sometimes, and in some cases, it gives you indigestion. But when you're done ingesting, your entire being will feel so much better that you'll think to yourself, how did I ever think like that before? People like Jay-Z and Beyonce and all these top-notch rappers and Kanye West and all these elite black actors and the leaders of the world and Barack Obama, they have no intentions of you getting to where they got to, because the way they got there was by keeping you distracted on some fake enemy that has nothing to do with you. They don't even care what you're doing. They don't care anymore. Now, the ones that are really big up, let's go back to the white people real quick. The ones who are really up there are more than happy to be friends with the Boulè. You don't find that kind of odd? That they all seem to be craving the company of that group. We want your awards. We want to live in your neighborhoods. Why? Because they're proving to you what one big thing: they have the power. You see it as something as, man, they finally made it there, and even when they get there, they're not wanted. No. You see, evil thrives on evil, and the same, what is it, birds of a feather flock together? Let me give you a little breakdown here. If somebody was really racist, white people, really racist, okay? Do you think they would actually give them ownership of anything? Let's go back to slavery days. Even the house ones did not have ownership of anything. They were allowed to dwell within the house of the massa, but they were never given anything of their own. So how are you going to make the equation now that the racist white people are just giving black people this much money? They're not. They acquired it by a different means, the Boulè system. Because it has not changed since tribal Africa, with the rich ones there too. Now, y'all may not like that, but that's okay. The reality is still the reality. And you can go to any country in Africa and see it's still applying today without the influence of white people. I want you to make that one make sense too. But you know what the Boulè wants you to believe? That white people have taught black people how to do this. Evil thrives in the heart of man regardless. And when it's left unchecked, it becomes a monster. And that's exactly how the Boulè was fostered. They have fooled a lot of people. They have kept you quite distracted, pointing you to an enemy that has nothing to do with you, nor are they the ones responsible for where you are. In reality, your own kinsmen are the ones that put you here, and they're more than happy to leave you too.